Picture this. You and your people have just fought a massive, exhausting campaign to secure a brand new homeland. The dust is settled, the land is subdued, and you finally set up your main camp and tabernacle at Shiloh. Time to kick back and settle down, right? Well, not exactly, because there's a massive problem. They haven't actually figured out who lives exactly where yet. Welcome to one of history's most fascinating early real estate dilemmas, pulled straight from the book of Joshua, chapter 18.
Right off the bat, there is some serious narrative tension here. Joshua is, frankly, fed up. He looks at the people and asks them basically, how long are you going to procrastinate on claiming the land that God already gave you? I mean, they are literally just sitting around in camp at Shiloh. The stakes are incredibly high, and Joshua desperately needs a way to break the gridlock of this ancient real estate crisis.
Because we're not just talking about a few families here. We are talking about 7 entire tribes. 7. They're still dragging their feet, completely landless at this point in the story. They haven't received their inheritance yet. Just imagine the sheer logistical nightmare of having that many people waiting in limbo. It requires an immediate, organized solution.
So Joshua devises a brilliant master plan. And he doesn't just arbitrarily point at a map. No, he launches a full-scale ancient cartography mission. He tells the people, look, pick 3 men from each tribe. You're going to physically walk the terrain, map the land into 7 parts in a written book, and bring that data straight back to me at Shiloh. Once they have the data, the final allocations will be decided by casting lots before the Lord.
Do the math on that, and you get 21. By taking 3 guys from each of those 7 remaining tribes, Joshua basically creates an elite specialized task force of 21 ancient surveyors. Their one job is to hit the road and document absolutely everything they see.
Now, real quick, before we see what they map, we should probably clarify who is not involved in this massive survey. First, you have the Levites. They don't get a traditional land portion because their inheritance is the priesthood itself. And then there are the tribes of Gad, Reuben, and half of Manasseh. They aren't in this lottery either, simply because Moses already granted them their land over on the east side of the Jordan River. So this brand new survey, it's strictly for the remaining 7 tribes on the west side.
Okay, let's look at the results, because this is where it gets really good. The incredible thing here is the sheer innovation of their data collection, because these 21 men actually pulled it off. They walked the land, they categorized it by its cities, they divided it into 7 distinct regions, and they wrote the whole thing down in a book. They came right back to Joshua at the host in Shiloh with hard, written, geographical data ready for the divine lottery.
So the lots are cast, and the very first lot that comes up in Shiloh, it belongs to the tribe of Benjamin. We're going to transition directly into their specific results just so you can see exactly how precise this ancient mapping really was.
Talk about prime real estate. The text energetically maps out Benjamin's borders, and their lot falls right in the middle, sandwiched strategically between the children of Judah to the south and the children of Joseph to the north. And the borders are incredibly detailed, relying on natural landmarks. It's bounded by the Jordan River on the east, then it wraps around the north through the mountains near Jericho and the wilderness of Beth-aven, stretches west down to Kirjath-Jearim, and pulls back east along the south through the valley of Hinnom, straight to the Salt Sea. It is this highly specific, tightly bounded geographical polygon.
And inside those borders, a massive data set. The surveyors documented a dense network of 26 specific, named cities, along with all their surrounding villages granted exclusively to Benjamin. The text actually breaks them down super precisely into 2 groupings, one chunk of 12 cities and another chunk of 14.
Now, to cut through all those heavy geographical details, let's just highlight the most recognizable names from that list, because Benjamin absolutely scored. They secured what would become some of the most historically significant cities in human history. We are talking about Jericho, Bethel, Gibeon, and a city the text calls Jebusi, which, you probably know better, as Jerusalem. I mean, wow, that is some incredibly critical real estate to win in a lottery.
Which leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to wrap up this explainer. When you think about those key cities and the massive geopolitical conflicts that have centered around them for literally millennia, you have to wonder, how much of our modern world was ultimately shaped by a 21-man surveying mission, a handwritten book of cities, and an ancient roll of the dice back in Shiloh? It's a remarkable piece of history to consider.